everybody, welcome back. This is some of your wedding petty revenge that ate and left no crumbs. Am I the a-hole for putting my mother-in-law in her place during my wedding? All rise for the honorable gentleman. This happened a few years ago, but it's still brought up in family gatherings, so I'm wondering if I was wrong. Well, I'll tell you, honey, I'm here to let you know. Strap in because it's a bit long. On this bumpy road together, I want to provide all the context. My husband, 35 male now and 28 male before, and I, 32 female now and 25 female before, have been together for almost a decade now. But my relationship with his mom has always been rocky. From the start, my mother-in-law, let's call her Linda, made it clear she didn't think I was good enough for her son. She would make snide comments about my career.
Oh, you're just a teacher?
My looks.
Your hair is unique.
Even my cooking, despite her barely being able to boil water. My husband always supported me, but he also didn't like confrontation, so he often tried to smooth things over without fully addressing her behavior. When we got engaged, Linda's antics went into overdrive. She tried to hijack our wedding planning, claiming she knew what was best, and that it was her son's wedding too. You're not entitled to someone's wedding just because you birthed the person in the wedding. At first, I tried to include her in minor decisions to keep the peace, like helping pick out flowers or giving input on cake flavors, but she took that as a green light to try and take control. She started calling vendors behind my back, suggesting changes, and even attempted to add guests to the list without asking me or my husband. Absolutely not. The breaking point came a month before the wedding. Linda called me in tears, saying she hated the dress I picked out for the bridesmaids. A simple, elegant navy blue. She demanded they wear something more appropriate. This is the picture for reference. There's literally nothing wrong with this dress. It's actually a really nice dress. And navy blue is one of those colors that like you could wear forever. It's not one of those like typical kind of wedding colors that's probably gonna go out of style. What about this is not appropriate? I don't get it. I took this picture from Pinterest and hired someone to make the dress, and thankfully my bridesmaid loved it. I even told them they could add any extra fabric or change how it looks to their liking, just keep it the same color. When I calmly explained that the decision had already been made and the bridesmaids all loved their dresses, mother-in-law snapped, saying,
Well, if you won't listen to me, maybe I won't even bother coming.
I love it when people say that and they think that they'll be missed. Because you won't. What do you expect people to say?
Oh no, please stay. It won't be the same without you.
In a good way. I told her that was her choice and I hung up. Fast forward to the wedding day. I was nervous but excited, trying to focus on the joy of marrying the love of my life. As I was getting ready, my maid of honor came rushing in to tell me Linda had shown up in a long white gown. A white gown. Not off-white, not cream, straight up bridal white. I felt my blood boil, but I don't want to cause a scene or let her ruin my day. So I took a deep breath and came up with a plan.
Ooh, what's the plan? Tell me the plan.
I pulled my photographer aside and asked them to take extra pictures of Linda throughout the day. Group shots, candids, you name it. Anytime someone asked me about her dress, I'd smile sweetly and say, isn't it amazing how confident she feels in that outfit? Not everyone would have the guts to wear something so bold to a wedding. Ooh, a taste of her own medicine, eh? Love it. I even made sure to compliment her loudly in front of the guests, saying things like, Linda looks so radiant today. Doesn't she remind you of a bride? She couldn't exactly call me out without looking ridiculous. Later during the speeches, my maid of honor accidentally mentioned how much she admired my mother-in-law for wearing white because it takes so much courage to make a statement like that at someone else's wedding. Linda's face turned redder than the roses in the centerpieces. I'm sorry, what did you think people were thinking when you showed up in a white gown? What did you think? Because if I see someone wearing white at a wedding that is not theirs, I immediately think energy. It's giving. Here's the kicker. I had the photographer include a special section in our wedding album titled Linda's Big Day, filled with all the photos of her in her white dress. I made sure to send her a copy as a thank you gift. Ooh, that's cute. So that's what that really was about. Planning her own wedding vicariously through you. It's been years, but Linda still complains that I embarrassed her on purpose and made her look bad. She made herself look bad, bestie. You just pointed it out. She claims I should have told her directly to change instead of playing games. She shouldn't have shown up in a white dress to someone else's wedding. You can go about life blaming people's reactions to your disrespect, but let's not forget what you did to deserve that reaction. Some family members agree with her and think I was petty, but others say she deserved it. My husband is firmly on my side and said I handled it better than he would have. So am I the a-hole for being petty and putting my mother-in-law in her place at my wedding? I mean, you were petty, but she also did something to kind of disrespect you. You didn't overtly say things like, wow, that is just so embarrassing. You gave her a taste of her own medicine. Like all the backhanded compliments that she gave you, you know, that are just like,
Oh, you're just a teacher? Your hair is unique.
you should have said, oh, that dress is unique. Oh, that fashion choice was unique. But guess what? That proves that all those backhanded compliments, because that's what you did, you gave her a backhanded compliment, were backhanded in the first place. Oh, interesting choice. You're probably the a-hole in Linda's eyes, but let's be honest, she's also an a-hole too. I've never understood like why people do this. Like, is it to draw attention away from the bride? Like, it's a very obvious choice, right? What we choose to wear really does say something about us, how we present ourselves. So what exactly is this giving other than either extremely ignorant or... Let's be honest, you wouldn't have even done that petty revenge if she didn't show up in the white dress, okay? That album would not exist. Not at all. She humiliated herself. Not the a-hole, I agree with others. She's just mad you didn't give her the reaction she wanted. What reaction was that, though? That's what I don't get. Did she expect the bride to just like cry in a corner? You killed her with kindness, giving her all the attention she apparently wanted. Bravo. That's a very good point. She wanted attention. She wanted to make the day about her, and she got it. It is decided. You are not the a-hole, my dear. How my sister married a narcissist and I got the last laugh. So, my sister, let's call her Oakley, has high-functioning autism and was pretty shy growing up. She went to study abroad for 2 years. During that time, a guy in her class, Tyler, developed a crush on her. Oakley wasn't interested though. She lived on the West Coast and he lived on the East Coast, so she thought they'd never see each other again. Fast forward to when they both returned to the States and surprise, surprise, Tyler has transferred to her school. He starts hounding her to date him, but Oakley says no. Tyler was super emotional, in touch with his feelings, and Oakley, well, she was logical and cut and dry about emotions. Eventually, he wears her down and they start dating. They go on a few dates and Oakley decides she likes him. She tells him she wants to keep seeing him and he ghosts her for 6 months. That's not ideal. Why are you doing so much if we're not gonna see it through, you know? Like, why are we chasing like that, guys? She spirals into depression. This was her first real boyfriend, and she had serious self-esteem issues. Then out of nowhere, Tyler texts her asking if they can just be friends and hang out.
What are you thinking?
I don't like that. Oakley agrees. And 2 months later, they're engaged. No. When there's a sudden change in behavior like that, when they just ghost out of nowhere, it's because there's someone else. Like 9 times out of 10, it's because there's someone else. And the only reason he's back is because the someone else didn't want him. So he's going for his second choice. I don't like it one bit.
You really loved him.
Here's where it gets ugly. Tyler somehow convinced her that no one else would want her and that their time apart was some kind of test to prove that she was meant to be with him. She ignored all the red flags, and there were a lot. Red flag number 1, his dream wedding binder. Tyler had a wedding binder. Yes, since he was a kid, planning his perfect wedding. Kind of samesies, unexpected from a male. Not entirely wrong, but I guess we'll just go with this. Meanwhile, Oakley wanted something small, intimate, with just family and close friends. Tyler wanted a beach wedding with hundreds of people. After months of back and forth, they settled on a rustic lodge in the mountains. Oakley didn't want all the fuss, but Tyler was hell-bent on making it his dream wedding. Red flag number 2, mama's boy. Tyler was super close with his mother to the point where he ran everything by her before making any decisions. Not just the wedding. Monster-in-law even made a comment before the wedding about how she was going to come live with them for a few months after they got married to help out her baby boy. Is there a baby boy? Because if there is no actual, like, physical baby, we're good on the mother-in-laws moving in. Like, I think we can live without it. Imagine that first few months of marriage and you gotta wake up with your mother-in-law right there all the time. Red flag number 3, the cake. Oakley didn't want a traditional cake. She wanted cake pops, but Tyler demanded a super fancy dairy, gluten, egg, and sugar-free cake for himself. Red flag number 4, he wanted her to drop out of school. Tyler was gonna be a doctor and he told Oakley she should drop out of school and support him by working multiple jobs where he pursued his more important degree. Oakley quit school and juggled 3 jobs to support him. Okay, this is the first one that's like a real red flag for me. Like the other ones, mama's boy a little bit as well, but like some people are just mama's boys, okay? This one is the one that's like, I don't like that at all. The other ones can be explained away. This one cannot. Red flag number 5, emotional manipulation. Tyler was extremely emotional about everything, and Oakley, being more logical due to her autism, couldn't relate to the constant emotional drama. They fought constantly. So, the week of the wedding rolls around and I fly out to help with last-minute preparations. The first thing I notice is that everything is about him. My parents hated him, which, to be honest, probably made Oakley dig in her heels even more. And they were pushing her hard to reconsider. I told her I had her back no matter what, and I'd be the bad guy if she needed me to be. Then, the night before the wedding, Oakley, a virgin, asked for advice about giggity-goo and mentioned how Tyler said they didn't have to do anything on their wedding night or honeymoon if she wasn't ready. Okay, odd.
You're not ready.
Now, I don't know many 22-year-old virgin guys who would be this patient, especially on their wedding night. Interesting. This is not your run-of-the-mill story. The wedding day arrives and the drama begins. Tyler's mother causes a scene because there's no special mother of the groom suite to get, like, ready in. I'm sorry, but the mother of the groom does not get her own suite. That is otherwise known as a hotel room. She spends the whole time fighting with my parents. Meanwhile, Oakley and I are in the bridal suite. I'm doing her hair and makeup and reminding her that if she wants to leave, I'm ready to take her away in the getaway car. You guys have a getaway car? If she wants to stay, I'll handle everything with mom and dad. They go through with the wedding. At the reception, Oakley doesn't want speeches, but Tyler cries because it's a part of his wedding binder. His mom and dad each gave 20-minute speeches about how he was the best thing ever, and Oakley was furious. Then, instead of dancing with Oakley for the first dance, Tyler dances with his mom. What is happening? Fast forward 4 months and Oakley catches him in their bed with another guy. That's what's happening. I see. She gets the divorce, spirals, quits her jobs, moves in with my parents, and starts taking college classes again. Oh my goodness. The tea is piping hot with this one. And here is where the real revenge comes in. Tyler's mom had gifted Oakley some family heirloom jewelry, and Oakley didn't want any of that money tainted by that boy. So I convinced her to donate it all to Goodwill. Yes, I got petty and thoroughly enjoyed telling his mom that her precious, expensive jewelry was now in the hands of some lucky stranger. Did the mom know that her son was gay? Okay, the wedding binder. Wedding binder makes sense. And some guys are just artistic. You know, we make some Pinterest boards in this house. It is a little bit of like, not red flag, but just like, we are curious about the wedding binder. The best part, karma got Tyler good. The guy he left my sister for ended up marrying him, cheating with a girl, getting her pregnant, and dumping Tyler on his End note, I love you, Charlotte. I listen to you every morning while getting ready for work, and I especially love the episodes with you and Mike. So funny. Oh, thank you. We'll have him on the channel soon, I promise. This was good. You kind of waited for karma to deliver the petty revenge. Listen, he's gay. It doesn't mean that he's person. What is quite possibly knowing that you're gay and making someone marry you and then cheating on that person. That's the bad person part. People are not bad people because they are gay. As soon as I read he had a wedding binder, I knew he was gay and didn't want his mommy to know. Okay, but did the mom know or not? That and not doing any hanky-panky on the wedding night. My naive self was like,
Oh, maybe he's disrespectful.
I was surprised that there was no hanky-panky leading up to the fact, but maybe I'm just I love how everyone collectively agrees we knew he was gay when he said wedding binder. I was like, oh, he gay. Then I was like, oh my God, you are so bitch. Stereotyping this poor guy. I thought you were better than that. Now my inner voices are number 1, smug, and number 2, sulking. Honestly, the best type of petty revenge is when it literally does not come back to haunt you. Like if you just kind of wait, maybe you do a little bit of moving in the shadows, but you let things just kind of play out. Delectable. Mother-in-law from hell tried to ruin the wedding, but I unintentionally got the last laugh. Charlotte, I adore you. Love you too. Why? I've not been so well. I've been watching your videos religiously, so now it's my turn to dish the tea. Ooh, that's good. I, 31 female, married my amazing hubby, 31 male, in 2023. At the same time, our best friends also got engaged, and we were all due to be married within 3 months of each other. Ooh, fun. We were all in each other's wedding parties as I was best friends with both the bride and groom, and I was standing in on both sides and was asked to make a speech, which I was happy to do. Our friends were due to get married before us, so we had a lot going on with planning our wedding and helping our friends with theirs. We were so lucky our families were supportive of the marriage, and everyone got along really well. And considering we come from separate religions, we made a beautiful effort to incorporate both cultures in our big day. Oh, I love weddings like that. Oh, it's so fun. I love learning about cultures. And so many different cultures have really cool wedding traditions as well. Like it made me kind of like want to start thinking about what kind of wedding traditions does my culture have? Someone told me once Italian families will throw these big weddings. They'll come with like an envelope of cash. They'll take cash out depending on how good or bad the wedding is. So they'll leave cash in it, take cash out if it's a bad wedding, and give that to the bride and groom. I don't know. It's just something I heard. I don't know if it's an actual tradition. If anyone's Italian or Romanian watching this and you guys know of wedding traditions and want to give me some suggestions, I'm so open to hearing it. Our friends, however, were going through hell with the groom's mother. My friend said her future mother-in-law started acting different with her from the second the ring was on her finger. Prior to that, they got on very well. There was a huge bust up when going out looking for venues, which ended with my friend getting out of the car and saying the wedding was off. But then her future hubby called his mother out for being a Karen, and all was resolved. You know it's bad when it's like that. She made an epic scene at their menu tasting because one of the groom's brother's girlfriends was celiac and couldn't eat any of the food chosen. The poor caterers were constantly reassuring her that gluten-free options will be provided for the girlfriend. FYI, the girlfriend in question had no idea all this fuss was being made and was already aware that she would be looked after. When the groom was preparing for his stag weekend away, his mother arranged for his grandfather's memorial service, so it was going to be the day after, meaning that poor hungover groom had to get up at 8 in the morning after his stag to come home in time to attend the service. And yes, he was incredibly hungover. At this point, we thought the worst was over until there was another drama over mother-in-law's dress. She had purchased a green sequined dress, and the bride's mother, who is just the funniest, most petty person I've ever met, posted a picture on Facebook of a dress that was being given away. It was a really ugly pink sequin dress. And in a comment, she said, "Oh, I'd never be seen dead in this." Whilst a lot of people saw this as a funny comment about an ugly dress, groom's mom abandoned her dress idea and decided to wear something else. The day of the wedding, as a wedding coordinator myself, I decided to make sure everything was running smoothly so the bride could focus on being pampered because she always looks out for other people, and I felt it was her turn to enjoy her day. Oh, that's so kind. When the flowers arrived, we realized that mother-in-law's corsage didn't arrive. The mother of the bride, knowing how psycho groom's mom is, volunteered to go without, but we asked the florist to head back to their shop and get the missing corsage, which they were happy to do, and thankfully it arrived just in time for her arrival at the venue. When mother-in-law arrived, I had just finished having my hair and makeup done, and I greeted mother-in-law. She insisted on going into the bridal suite to hide so people wouldn't see her in her dress. Wait, what's happening? I looked at her very confused as the dress she was wearing was the same dress she wore to another one of her son's weddings a few years prior. She stood outside the door and waited while I checked, and the bride was fine as she was still in her robe and not yet getting into her dress. Mother-in-law came in the room and basically ignored the bride and was mouthing off to the makeup artist who was doing the bride's makeup. Once the bride was ready to get into her dress, most of us decided to leave it to her and the maid of honor so she had a bit of privacy. I was in the bathroom being tied into my dress by another bridesmaid who is transgender. Her gender wasn't important, but it links to the drama. We came out of the bathroom. Mother-in-law was hysterical, banging on the door, begging to be let in, and makeup artist approached the door and said she's in a state of undress. Please give her some privacy. And then she proceeded to scream, "I don't care, let me in. And why does he get to be in there?" Referring to the transgender bridesmaid. Okay. Unnecessary. Those of us in earshot were horrified. She had no right to comment on this girl's gender, and one of the other bridesmaids snapped and told her off. Mother-in-law stormed off, backed by a friend, and went to the office of the venue and claimed she was going home. I decided to try and get this situation under control before it got back to the bride and groom, who at the time were blissfully unaware, as it should be. Honestly, I'd rather just not know that stuff like this is going on. Unfortunately for me, the conversation had not gone well, and she stormed out of the office accusing me and another bridesmaid of bullying her. Her friend told me I was a disgrace for standing up to this other bridesmaid, and when I asked her who she was, all hell broke loose, and the groom and groomsmen, including my husband and his dad, were all standing outside the door. I strolled out very casually and explained to the groom his mom was having a tantrum. And he just shrugged his shoulders as if to say, no surprise there. And then when mother of the bride came out to try and calm her down, one of the groom's brothers threatened to punch her in the face. Honestly, the only appropriate threat to make when someone is making a scene on someone else's wedding day. Like, I do not condone violence, but some people really do need to get punched in the face. There are people out there who have never been punched in the face, who should be punched in the face. I do not condone violence! Eventually, she calmed down, and an hour later than planned, everything went ahead. The ceremony was beautiful, my friends were beautiful, we smiled and we cried, and it was a beautiful day. The groom asked me to apologize to his mom just to settle her down. And out of respect for my friend, I obliged, and it was caught on film. The videographers who saw everything unfold thought I might want to cherish this memory. Sarcastically, obviously. Would I be able to get that footage? Because I think I could probably make a really good thumbnail out of that. After the meal, it was my turn to speak. Admittedly, I'm not the best public speaker, but I had a great speech prepared. In my speech, I referenced the queen herself, Charlotte Dobre. Oh, me? Why'd you do that? I said how my friend and I would watch videos about bridezillas, matrons of dishonor, and mother-in-laws from hell to ensure our families and friends weren't exhibiting any of those traits. I love how this channel has become a general how not to behave and how to have some decorum channel. I thought it was a sweet story about how my friend and I prepared to be brides. Mother-in-law, however, thought it was a dig. And apparently a lot of the wedding guests did too and found it very funny. That's because it is. It is funny. I was told by the groom his mother was fuming, and well done. Other wedding guests approached me and laughed, saying how funny the comment was. And I said it wasn't actually directed at her. They all said, well, if the cat fits. If you're mad, it's about you. General rule of thumb, if you're mad, it's about you. After the wedding, she blocked me on all social media platforms and I haven't spoken to her since. My friend also no longer speaks to her unless she has to. Safe to say, it wasn't a loss to me. I love how I was also included in this. That makes me really happy. I love how quick mother-in-law is to be offended and to play the victim. It's always the people that dish too much that can't take it, you know? They can go around acting like absolute tats, but then when it comes to anything that might be a slight to them, it's like, quiet. Be grateful it's not a punch to the face. Hilarious. I love how she was offended by you just mentioning that mother-in-laws from hell existed. She saw herself in that. Like I said, if you're mad, it's about you. I gotta say, this wedding petty revenge left no crumbs. Subscribe